Hi there, so I'm back for completing this watercolor eye. So what I'm seeing is my eyebrow must move a little bit to the left hand side. I think it's because I'm sitting down rather than standing up. I'm missing a few things, but not to worry, we'll set that right. So if you haven't watched the first two videos about watercolor eyes, the first one was just a very short video on saying what you will need to do the video materials. Second one was sort of beginning of an eye, and this is the third one where hopefully I'll be completing it. So my paper has absorbed quite a lot of the water. I didn't stretch it before, and because it's a 300 gram, I thought it could, it would be fine. We'll see how it goes. If you work quite wetly, you will need to stretch your paper, but I didn't do it in this case because I thought this paper should be able to withstand the amount of water that I'm going to be using. I won't go extremely wet, but if you're worried about that, just stretch your paper. Whenever I do a line like this, it ends, if you look at the photograph, it ends really gently and softly. So just go back in there and I'll just end it softly as well. Alrighty, I like the eyebrow. I think that's about there. Depends on how far I want to go with the face and if I want to add stuff like the top of the head, but for now I think this is fine. Like the softness underneath here and some harder edges for the lines of hair, but mostly quite soft, and I like the colors. Okay, so I have to go a little bit further with this part, build it up. If you're going to do eyelashes, keep them minimal and sensitivity of line, darker, thicker, thinner, lighter, and it always ends the lightest and the thinnest at, where the hair is ending. It has to be thinner and it has to be lighter, otherwise it ends up looking really, really unrealistic and harsh. I do want some more shadows underneath here, so I'm just going to go for it. Okay. Other thing I'd like to add, I don't see it on that photo because it's such a model-like picture of a lady photo of a lady that I think all the dark circles and everything has been brushed out with Photoshop. So I'm just going to add some more natural sort of shadows in here. Otherwise the eyeball won't seem to be underneath the skin. The eyeball sits here. You must have shadows there, usually here and here, and then you can sort of see the eyeball underneath the skin. So that shadow is helping a little bit already. And I think the top one can also be a little bit darker. So just this area, not as dark as the eyebrow, but a little bit darker. That helps a little bit with the three-dimensionality that you need when you're busy with an eye. Okay, so the color of the iris, I'm going to start adding some greens in there. Mostly some sap green, I think, is what I'm busy with here. Keep keeping the brush strokes quite loose. So light I can almost not see it. I have to go a little bit darker. Edge of the iris is usually a little bit darker, so you can add some drama there. If I make a mistake, clean the brush, take out the water, pick up the mistake. A little water vacuum. Okay, so I'm going to add the drama of the pupil. Must be a little bit darker, otherwise the light won't be intense enough. The contrast won't work. Oh, easy does it. Saggies. Carefully does it, because if I mess that up, it's going to bleed into the yellow, and to fix that is hard. So finally I'm going to use this little fine brush of mine. Just want to push around the paint a bit. Being careful that it doesn't go into the yellow. You could wait till all of this dries, but for purposes of the video I have to get it done, so can't wait too long. Some people need to learn about watercolor eyes in my class, my online classes. If you're interested, you can join from anywhere in the world nowadays with online classes. It's been a steep learning curve for me, but I have been doing it for a while now, and it's getting to be quite interesting, learning new ways to teach people. For instance, this video is to teach somebody in my class who wants to be able to paint watercolor portraits. So this will be sent to her specifically and then released on YouTube as well for you people out there. Maar I don't think I would have started to do this if it wasn't that I needed to help somebody in Barrydale to paint a watercolor eye. I'm in Stellenbosch, so that's quite far away. So she's doing the online classes, and this is one of the ways that I can teach her, is make a video and send it to her. So you're welcome to join my online classes. We're about not more than 7 people at one time. It gets a bit hectic if it's more than that for now. I might get there, but I'm not there yet. I'm just thinking that little blotch there shouldn't be there, so I'm gonna pick this up, scrubbing. It's messing up my space there. Okay, better. Okay, so that little light reflection is interesting. I have to do something more there. Let's see if I can start building up a little bit more. There's some like an ochre in here that I see, and more of an ochre there. You saw darker ochre, or let me not a darker ochre, some more ochre there and there, over there. That's interesting what that does. If you want it to bleed, just drop some water on it. Let's see if I can make it bleed a bit more. So bleed means the water, it's wet enough, the paper is wet, you're putting on wet paint, and then the paint will do its thing. It's going to bleed into one of the areas around it. I quite like that. It's not too bad. Okay, maar ek moet 'n bietjie donkerder gaan. I'll have to go a little bit darker. So, all you English people who've never heard Afrikaans, that was Afrikaans again. Yeah, that's gonna help. You can somewhere see it. And I'm at a stage where I can start thinking about just doing some irisy things. Dragging some of the paint in there. Made a little boo-boo here, so we'll have to pick up the boo-boo. Just wash it with water, take out the paint on the brush, take out the water, clean the brush, pick it up. Okay, so a little bit more color here. Start working with this other brush now. Okay, I think we're almost there because I don't want to overwork. Overworking a watercolor is like making your coffee too strong. You can't undo it. You have to make a new coffee or add lots of milk, and in the case of watercolor it's not so easy. Ooh, that's quite beautiful. Wow, love what that does. Let's bring some of it in here. Let's even bring some in here. Little lines. Ooh, but you have to be careful with not going too dark. But I do like it. I do like what it does for the iris. Your edges must just be, you know, the iris. It's interesting. Some of it you have to sort of look at what is really happening there. Just check your shapes. My iris is still skewed. Oh, it looks skewed on the video. Why does it look skewed? It doesn't look skewed down there. So ek weet nie wat daar aangaan nie. I'll try and fix it. When I sit down, it looks perfectly fine. On the video, this must come out. If I look at through the lens, I'm just taking it out a little bit, seeing if it looks better. Still not looking great. Don't understand why that is. I'll soften it again. Okay. I can see my iris is not perfect when I stand up. When I sit down, it's fine. Must be how the perspective changes, but I can't do this video standing up. Not yet. Still getting to all the right equipment and stuff, so it's gonna have to suffice for today. Yeah, looking at the video and doing the video is something different. I quite like the depth of this. It's not so easy, watercolor is not so easy. Practice, practice, practice. I'm going to do something quite bold because I know there should be a shadow right underneath that upper eyelid. But firstly, I'm going to have the guts to make that eyelid, the upper eyelid, darker. Even though I don't like using black so much, it's going to have to go darker. Okay. So I do it. And I have to soften some of it. Mushy. My cat came to say hello. Hey, Mushy. 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 My cat's going to come say hello and maybe you'll see her face. So as this is wet, this edge that I'm doing there, I'm sort of dragging quickly, dragging some lines out, very sort of quick fluid motion. And if it looks too much, because it can look too much so quickly, I'm just going to soften it again. You can see that's way too thick. It can't end like that. That's impossible. Otherwise, it's a really hectic mascara. I'm going to soften some of these lines. Okay, I'm sort of liking it. It's not perfect, but what's perfect? It's a watercolor eye. I think I've done better, but I'm learning how to do videos and talk and be creative. Oh, I'm just going to add a little bit of red into this. Make it liven up a bit. Okay, I think my pupil must be slightly larger. Which is a scary thing to do. Let's go there. And it has to be a circle. It's the other thing. That's not so easy. But a woman has to do what a woman has to do. When you do watercolor eyes and you're teaching people and you're telling them to be brave. Hello. You will have to be brave. You will have to have the guts to be a creative explorer and being willing to make mistakes, and that's not such an issue because you have to learn. This is all new to me, and I'm learning wonderful new things, trying to teach and talk and do. I'm starting to like that a bit more. Okay. I want a teensy little bit of dark gray in here. And then it looks too hard. And then you soften. It's a balance. It's a balance between structure and detail and playfulness. Okay. Depth, 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 depth. Some of these things are hard. Some of them are soft. Some of them to the naked eye are almost not visible, and you have to keep figuring out how much of it to do, how much not to do, what should you take away, what should you leave. And then they've got directions, these things. Die ooghare, hulle het nog rigtings ook. So you can't just do them. You have to actually check that is actually going there, which I didn't see. That's going there. That's going there. Eesh. Ooh. Oogare. Not my favorite things to do. I do it when I need to. Okay, not looking too bad. I want this corner to shape in, so I'm going to try my best to again clean my brush, and I'm going to work in here. I'm going to get that little corner back, because if you look at that space there, it's actually a beautiful little, ja, dis beter, negative space. Ooh. Sometimes I scare myself. Whew, that was a gamble, but I think it paid off. There we go. Into eyelashes it goes. Nie so 'n probleem nie. Okay, wow. This is hard work. I'm going to drop some purple into that black, because I want the black to be a little bit less of a gaping black hole. And then you have to add some other tones in there, other colors. Okay, there's the last thing that I have to do, and that is add that shadow. I don't know if it's going to work right now because it's so wet, but I'm going to do it because I don't have a lot of time. I have to finish this thing and send it. So, ek gaan dit maar probeer. Okay, laat ek net hierdie edge nou weer bietjie terugkry. Sometimes it's also about the suggestion of something, né? Because sometimes about what you not do, not about what you do. Because the one thing that you don't want to do with a watercolor is overwork the thing. Ooh. And these things are notorious. They can get overworked in moments. I have to clean up. Some of these hairs are just too thick. But lucky. Clean up. I'm going to clean up besides them so that some of them can look like they are ending like in these little tiny teensy weensy little bits of hairs. I need one there. Don't feel like doing it, but I'll have to. I need that there. And I need one here. Oof. Okay. So the last thing that I have to do is add a shadow underneath the eyelid. The upper eyelid is always the darkest. Same if you draw an eye, the upper eyelid is going to be the darkest. And underneath that upper eyelid, there's always this beautiful shadow, which can mess this whole thing up. But I'm going to have to put it in. So let's go for it and just do it and see. I don't know if you can see it, but I can see it. It does help when that shadow is actually in there. It can still be darker in that section, but it's really wet there. I'm going to try once and then leave it because I think it's going to be too wet. Actually helps the shape of the pupil, because some of that pupil is going to go underneath that shadow, almost blending into that shadow, which makes the pupil look more realistic. Okay, I've got another mistake that I need to correct. This has to go in there, green. It's going to help my shape. The iris. Okay. Okay, the last things. Tiny little bit of a line added there. Softening a little bit of this. My eyes sort of completing that shape, so that's good. Taking away this. A little bit of this, blending, softening a bit. Softening those eyelash edges. Okay, if I don't know, instinctively, this is an instinct, I don't know why, but I think this should be there. A little bit of blue. Yeah. In the reflection. And maybe even a little bit of blue right here. And I think lastly, what I'm going to do is just now giving us some iris-like qualities. You want to make sure there's some light in that iris. Okay, I think that for today this is as good. So I'm gonna get this. I hope you've learned something. And you can see me correcting mistakes all along, so it's really not an issue to make a mistake. Enjoy trying your own. Thank you and goodbye.